Welcome back to college football on ABC, presented by Best Buy. Our score at halftime, 17-3, Texas A&M on top of the Texas Longhorns. And Ed Cunningham, the two numbers that stick out to me, and that I think they loom really large as far as the first half of play, and that is time of possession. The Aggies have had the ball almost 20 minutes to Texas 10, and also A&M only averages, 171 yards passing the ball game. They're right at 210 yards in the first half of this game.
And they've been so efficient in throwing the ball. You know, you'd think with time of possession, throwing the ball as much as A&M has, which is just a shock, you'd expect it to be more even. As we take a look at the highlights from the first half, they got Mike Goodson involved early, which Texas was fearful of. Of course, Goodson burned Texas last year on a 41-yard touchdown. This just a great run for the TD. And McGee has been really letting it fly. He's been accurate in a way that we have not seen all season. And then TJ Sanders, a senior on senior day, and a great call by Dennis Franchione. The Texas A&M coaches have completely cut it loose, and their players are following suit. Now Texas needs to answer. They get the ball, and with McGee on the sideline, I think Jamal Charles has to be the guy for Texas on this first drive.
So the important thing for the Longhorns, as you look at Goodson on the sideline, scoring that huge 35-yard touchdown run after the pass. Last year he had the long run, the only touchdown scored in the ball game up in Austin for the win. McGee warms up on the near sideline. Texas won the toss tonight and deferred, so they get the ball to open the second half of play. Well, this one is returnable. From the 5-yard line is Cosby. And Cosby breaks it back into the middle, and he'll be up close to the 30-yard line. Let's go down to Jack Arute on the sideline. Jack?
Yeah, Ron, Coach Fran talked to his team, and he told them, look, guys, you won the first half, but that doesn't count for anything. He reminded them of what the Longhorns have done this season, coming from behind at the half to win games. I also checked on the condition of Jaworski Lane. He cramped up, and according to Coach Fran, he's going to be fine, so look for him to be out there, too, in the second half.
Okay. Kind of cool for cramps, but obviously very possible. Texas takes it over with decent field position at their own 29-yard line to open the second half. And a quick pass to Finley, the tight end, and it's a little too far in front. Can't hold on.
Take a look at our Pacific Life game summary, the first half statistics, and the one that jumps out, Ron, you mentioned it right there at halftime, 288 total yards, 209 of those in the pass game for A&M. That's exactly flipped opposite of what you would expect of A&M coming into this game. And at the time of possession, again, it's because of the efficiency of McGee, 16 of 23, 209 yards. He's really playing a way that we haven't seen in about a year and a half. He's been very impressive.
Colt McCoy swings this one out. Jamal Charles juggles it and still fights his way forward out across the 35-yard line. So it's going to be a 3rd and 2 as Red Bryant, another one of the seniors, playing his final time here at Kyle Field in College Station, makes the tackle.
And the thing that Coach Franchione was talking about to his team, if you've been watching Texas all year, they fell behind against Nebraska. They fell behind against Kansas State, and although they couldn't come back, they tried like they were in the game until a couple returns, and then Oklahoma State, of course, and a lot of those were because Jamal Charles got the load in the second half.
Obadiah comes into the ball game as the Aggies show blitz off the top of your screen, and they throw complete right into that vacant area, and that's Jermichael Finley for the first down. Good for 11 yards. So Texas will move the sticks. The tackle made by Mark Dodge.
Is there a better group of tight ends in the country than what they have right here in the Big 12?
Truthfully, that is a really good point, because between Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, his flags are all over the place. Thrown from the backside, actually, and the play is stopped for a loss on Charles by Davis.
There are fouls against both teams on the play. Offsides, defense, number 11. Holding, offense, number 66. Those penalties offset will replay first down.
Well, we were just talking about the tight ends around this league, and we've been lucky enough to see a lot of them, Ron. And tomorrow night, there's 3 great tight ends. Of course, Ruckert, Kaufman, but Fine at Kansas has had a really nice year as well.
Well, Bennett, Jermichael Finley, Pettigrew at Oklahoma State, Jermaine Gresham, and he's still very green. And DeVree, Tyson DeVree for the Buffaloes of Colorado. Well, there's Martellus Bennett on the bicycle on the sideline, trying to stay loose. McCoy, and now throws deep, and the ball is intercepted by Texas A&M. Jordan Shipley was trying to come back and get it, and because Colt McCoy had to rush, that's the ideal pass to underthrow, because how many times have you seen a receiver come back and make the catch?
It looked to me like Shipley was trying to gather his feet, and Carpenter just did an excellent job. The senior, with his 4th interception of the year, leads the team, and it looked to me like Shipley. Here's where you're going to look as the pocket breaks down, and Shipley and McCoy, who are roommates, but give credit to Marquise Carpenter. You know, he never came off of his assignment. How many times do you see it? How many times do you see it where the defensive back peeks in the backfield for half a second, and that's where the separation comes from? And McCoy just couldn't get enough on that ball, but excellent defense by Carpenter.
So again, they take it over deep in their own territory. McGee, great protection deep over the middle, and this is well overthrown. You know, at the end of that last play, behind the actual interception, Michael Bennett looked as though that he pulled a hamstring and came up limping, number 11, defensively. So we'll have to check and see if he comes out with the next defensive start that these guys had.
And I think that would be a huge loss, because he's been one of the guys who's been able, as Jaworski Lane comes over to the sideline with Gooden now in the game. But you lose Bennett and you lose one of your best speed rushers, and they've been able to get pressure without blitzes tonight on the court.
And of course, you're probably saying, you know, wait a minute, Jaworski wears number 11. That they have an 11 on each side of the football. 2nd down. McGee runs up into the pocket. He's at the 10, and then he pays for it at the 12-yard line with a hard tackle by McElroy.
And this is territory.
Yeah, in the background of the shot, watch him pull up, and see right there.
Boy,
that's a hamstring. That is a hamstring.
Of course, Michael Bennett's brother, Martellus Bennett, fine tight end for A&M. But Michael's been getting a lot of pressure. Matter of fact, earlier in the game, he had an excellent move on the left tackle and got right into the backfield. So A&M needs him. They haven't had the blitz to get pressure. They might have to if he's out.
Texas showing blitz. We'll see if they stay at home. If they pressure in the middle. Gibson, and tackled, but not in time by Beasley. 1st down, Texas A&M. And let's go down to Jack Arute. You got more on Bennett.
Yeah, Ron. Michael Bennett is now having his hamstring iced down, so you guys were spot on with your diagnosis.
Well, that's tough news for the Aggie defense, because they have had so many people step forward this afternoon to thwart everything Texas has wanted to do offensively. Jaworski Lane checks back into the ball game at tailback, and he will join Goodson in the backfield. And with this set, this is nothing but the old-fashioned wishbone, if that is in fact the play that they choose to run with the option. Yep, he did fake it, but he throws it out to the near sideline and has it complete to Taylor.
Wow, yeah, they're going to get a late hit there. I believe it was Brandon Foster. He couldn't stop himself after Taylor made the catch. I'm not sure if that was a catch. Looked like it may have hit the ground, but I'm not quite sure what Foster was looking at.
Dead ball. Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness against the defense, number 28. It's a 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic 1st down.
Yeah, I don't think he caught it. I think
now the ball hit the ground, but it's still the hit came late. Although it was not a vicious attack, it still was a late hit.
Few yards difference. You'd still get the late hit, but it'd go from the line of scrimmage, but probably 3 yards maybe total, so not that big of a deal.
So the Aggies scrimmage first down from their own 37 after starting this very deep.
I believe they've got Babalola, who's playing on the right side, at tackle, instead of falling backwards.
False start on the offense, number 71. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
So the situation in this ball game is the Longhorns need to stop and need to get their offense on the field to see if they can get something percolating, because the percolations have been few and far between so far in this one. It's Lane resetting, and McGee's going to run, and he will be tackled at around the 32-yard line. So it's going to be second down and long. You know, still, as far as what they are doing, there's absolutely nothing fancy about it, but the time of possession thing, when you continue to look at that, and all of a sudden that's all this does. I keep looking over at our stat person, and it's, you know, 13th play of the drive, 14th play of the drive, 9th play of the drive.
And they're not doing it out of the modern wishbone that they've been running all year. They're doing it with play action passing, with screens and dropbacks. It's just a totally different game plan than what Texas would have studied for the Aggies all year.
And McGee wants to throw, and it is picked off. Foster down the sideline, knocked out of bounds at around the 10-yard line, and the Longhorns want a flag for a late hit out of bounds, and the officials do not throw one. Second turnover, second interception, as Foster gets the pick off. Beasley got the other one back in the first half.
Watch him reading the eyes. McGee, after the drop, he stays on that side the whole way, and what an excellent job in zone coverage of Foster reading the eyes. And the senior almost goes, and McGee did look a little late, didn't it?
And out of bounds.
But what a nice job by Foster. I believe that was Jaworski Lane who came in there late and got that hit, so they maybe should have gotten a call there.
Jamal Charles heads for the end zone. Touchdown, Texas. So this turnover turns into a touchdown for the Longhorns. And now, all of a sudden, a bit of a silence comes to Kyle Field. We talked about that field goal didn't really appear to be what you would say a grabber and taking away, you know, the incentives in the ball game, and this one does.
Remember earlier in the game we showed that graphic of Texas A&M's record when they were on the plus side of turnovers and the record when they're on the minus side. They're 6-0, 0-5, and right now they're down 2 turnovers to 1.
So the extra point attempt is up and good by Ryan Bailey, and we'll take a timeout with 10:46 left in the third quarter. The new score is Texas A&M 17 and Texas 10.
You're watching ESPN's Rivalry Week, presented by Remington.
Well, there is a good look at the young man who made the interception, Brandon Foster, a senior out of Arlington Bowie High School. 5'9", 185, makes the pickoff, and it turns into points for the Longhorns.
And Mr. Foster already holds the single season record with 3 defensive touchdowns, almost got his 4th.
Hunter Lawrence prepares to kick it off for the Longhorns. And this one is returnable from the 5-yard line. It's Pierre Brown. And Pierre is going to be tackled just short of the 30. And now they're going to get moved back as a flag comes from deep downfield. Now let's take a look at our Best Buy playbook.
Well, this is just great blocking at the point of the tack. Watch the double team by Charlie Tanner and the left tackle Chris Hall. They're working on Lucas Peterson. Watch them drive, and then come off on the linebacker. We've got a holding on the return, so they'll back up. But look at the double team, knock Patterson back. Tanner does an excellent job. He had his eyes on Toupee, the linebacker, the whole time, and that opened a huge hole.
And then came off the double team, as you said, and got another block.
Yeah, and this is a very young offensive line. Chris Hall, just a sophomore. Of course, Dallas Griffin and Tony Hills, the two seniors, out for the year. And this young group, they struggled early in this game, but they're starting to get a little bit of rhythm, and it's because of the run game.
Coach McWhorter, the offensive line coach, coming by, and you saw everybody shaking their head up and down. Yes, we agree. We were proud of ourselves. Now the double team finally brings Goodson down, but Ron Franklin, along with Ed Cunningham and Jack Arute, coming to you from College Station, Kyle Field, in a capacity house as usual. Never any empty seats for this one when these two ball clubs get together. And I think one of the most unique rivalries, and I'm going to talk about that in the second half, having lived in this state for almost 40 years, why this rivalry is more unique probably than many others, if not any other. Right now, the Aggies on top, 17-10. Just under 10 minutes to play in the third quarter. It's Bennett in motion. And a quick pass out to the right side, and the defensive back for Texas had fallen down. Pierre Brown makes the reception, but losing his footing was Dion Beasley, and it was just enough. They are fortunate that one didn't go the distance.
Dion Beasley, who was a quarterback in high school. Coach is very excited about him, but he does slip. And boy, Pierre Brown has really had a nice ball game. He's a guy who's kind of been quiet all year, of course, because they've been running the ball so much, but Brown showing a knack to be able to run in the open field.
He's out of Duncanville, a school that puts out a lot of outstanding athletes, not only football but also in basketball. Stephen McGee, we'll see how bothered he was about that interception. Normally unflappable. Going to throw this one. Swings the pass out at the 35 to Taylor. And Taylor still in the field of play, close to the first down as he'll take it out across the 45. Aaron Lewis and Eric Jackson combined, but look at this second effort.
Well, and an excellent job by E.J. Schenkel right there. Stayed alive, blocking downfield. And we've seen a lot of the receivers from A&M on these swing passes, wide receiver screens, doing a good job of blocking for each other. And Taylor, a senior, you can't mention enough how important it is. It's senior day, last game, big rivalry against Texas. Nice for these seniors to be getting into the action.
Well, Jaworski Lane gets the handoff straight ahead, breaks a tackle. They catch him around the ankles, which is about the only place you could bring him down. And just like that, the Aggies from deep in their own territory now have a first down in Texas territory at the 45. Griffin finally put a stop on it.
Oh, you know, we've been talking a lot about what Texas has to play for. Of course, still alive in the Big 12 South. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State tomorrow has a lot to say about that. But A&M, you know, not just the rivalry, which is huge, but a lot of questions about what's going to happen to the coaching staff. A lot of seniors, a lot of guys on this offensive line, seniors, and trying to improve their bowl status if they can get to 7 wins.
Well, this is Lane kind of tiptoeing his way. There was nothing over the guard in the center, so he popped it outside. Jack Arute.
Well, Ron, you wanted to know how Stephen McGee was going to respond to that interception that he threw. You see on this drive how he's responding. Let me tell you how he responded when he came off the field, though. He was a little despondent. He was a little mad at himself. First time that I saw him do exactly that on the sidelines. It took him maybe a couple of downs, but then he gathered himself back out. And when he went back out, he was as quiet and resolute and focused as he's been in the past.
Well, Jackie's got a second down and 9, and as I said, from deep in his own territory following that holding call on the kickoff. He has gone into Texas territory. Here's the pitch to Goodson. And Goodson is going to take it inside the 40 down to the 38. Scott Berry making the tackle. And they keep chipping away.
So I was just going to mention, you get a feeling because of the turnover and the quick score, this is a very important drive for Texas A&M. If you don't come out and get something positive, maybe a field goal, or hopefully if you're an Aggie fan, a touchdown, you get a feeling maybe that momentum will start to switch. But I think Jack is right. Stephen McGee has come out and looked very calm and comfortable in this drive after the interception.
One of the things also that has helped him maintain his comfort level is the offensive line has blocked extremely well tonight. As the run goes straight ahead, and they're going to pick up another first down on the blast at Big Jaworski Lane. So they are now 7 of 10 in third down conversions. But tomorrow night at ABC, Chase Daniel and the Missouri Tigers take on Todd Reesing, the undefeated Kansas Jayhawks. Of course, the winner moves into the Big 12 championship game and possibly a chance to play for the national title. Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines, part of Rivalry Week, presented by Remington at 8 Eastern. College football lives here. That's Bennett in motion. And Jaworski Lane, maybe a yard, and that's about it. Well, speaking of that rivalry, let's take a look at our rivalry notebook presented by Sonic. First game, 1891, the series 53-53-9. Was known as the Border War, and then after 9/11, I notice a lot of people are still using the term Border War, but it was changed to Border Showdown. And the highest rankings for both teams in the series. BCS standings. Lane and Goodson in the backfield on the second down and long. And that's Lane in motion. Swings it out to Goodson, makes the catch, and I think he stepped out of bounds actually before he was bumped out. John Saunders, how's everything going down in Baton Rouge way?
Well, Ron, it depends on who you're pulling for. Right now, Darren McFadden is putting on an amazing performance, closing in on 200 yards on the ground, and throws this touchdown pass to Peyton Hillis as Arkansas has gone on top of him, #1 by a touchdown. Ron.
So it's third down, and A&M needs to take it to the 25-yard line. Maybe the biggest defensive play that Texas has looked at this afternoon, with just over 5 minutes to play, third quarter. Pass on single coverage to Bennett, and the ball tipped and incomplete at the 5-yard line. And it was Eric Jackson, the strong safety, who had the cover on Bennett.
And I think A&M's going to go for it here. They don't have a good field goal kicker from this distance. A punt, if it goes into the end zone, it's only a 14-yard gain of field position. And it is McGee coming back in. You may end up getting a pooch punt, which we saw Texas do earlier. Good no call here, by the way. Both players kind of battling with their hands, so don't throw the flag. But I think this is the right decision by Dennis Franchione. You may see the punt, but...
Well, here they come quickly back to the line of scrimmage, and we'll see if it is the pooch punt or if they go for the play. As I said, they need to take it to the 25-yard line. That's Brown in motion. Stepping up, now throws, has it complete, and it's going to be short of the first down to Kerry Franks. And I'll tell you, he didn't pick him up in time, but Brown was wide open on the right side, on the top of your screen and looking at it on television. So let's take a timeout. 5:35 left in the third quarter. Texas A&M by 7.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, presented by Best Buy. Brought to you by Allstate, proud sponsors of college football. Are you in good hands? Verizon Wireless. Clean Exchange, a disposable head electric shaver, new from Remington. And the Nissan Titan, proud presenter of the 2007 Heisman Trophy. To cast your vote, go to theheismanvote.com.
She has a bag of it, and we have a bag of it up here in the booth as well. Kettle corn. Very sweet, very good. From the 27-yard line, Jamal Charles in the ball game at tailback, and they hand it off to him. And Charles, a missed tackle, and he's still spinning. He'll take it to the 35. It's a gain of 8.
Well, Jamal Charles, you know, this game feels like A&M's ahead more than they are. 62 plays for Texas A&M today versus 32 for Texas.
That's amazing.
But you're down 7. You're okay, and 25 is going to be your guy.
Well, and they give it to him again. He's close to the first down, but I don't know. This may require a measurement. And Jack Arute, you got more on Charles.
Yeah, well, you guys, and we've seen Jamal Charles first get fumbleitis and then maybe have some big games. And one of the things he said that turned his season around is he said when his coaching staff told him to quit trying to bounce to the outside so much, he said, I kind of get caught up in trying to make every play a big play.
Yeah.
He says, then he says, I just try to run towards the hole and use my speed. But we still see him here, Ron, every once in a while, still looking for that hole going east-west, don't we?
Yeah, we do. And, Jack, you know, what could happen now? This, he's had 13 carries. I think everything above 15 and 20 is when he gets best. And here he goes right here with a gain of again, close to 8 yards.
And it's a little unusual, and it's hard to, when you think about Jamaal Charles, you may think track guy first because he was such a great track athlete. He's given up track now for football. And so you think, oh, he's a speed guy, and can we really give him 25 or 30 carries? The answer is yes. He had 216 yards against Nebraska in the fourth quarter. For whatever reason, he just gets stronger and stronger. You just don't expect that a lot of times, a guy who comes with that much track speed.
Here's Shipley, and he makes the catch and also makes the first down. So what Texas is doing right now, they've got weapons on offense. But what we talked about at halftime is two of the most effective weapons that they have, three actually, Finley, Shipley, and also number 25, Jamaal Charles. And now all of a sudden, they're peppering all three of them with the football.
And guess what? Not as much pressure from that defensive front. Michael Bennett's not in the game, starting to slow down that rush a little bit too.
McCoy hit, loses the ball, and I believe A&M has it at the 46-yard line. Yes, it is recovered by Harrington. Chris Harrington with the recovery.
It looked to me like Colt McCoy took a shot in the face right as he was fumbling this ball.
Jamaal Charles semi-limping toward the huddle.
Right when I say no pressure from the front, you get it with a blitz from the outside. Yeah, and that was Kellen Hurd who hit the top of McCoy's helmet as he went by, and underneath of that was Lucas Patterson, and it was the high-low that separated the ball. Now Hurd wasn't going for the head, but boy, a lot of times you'd see a blow to the head called. Kind of surprised you didn't get that personal foul, especially on a quarterback.
Thomas in motion. Here they come with the option. And Texas strings it out, turns the corner. Goodson close to 10 yards on this running play. Sergio Kindle finally made the tackle for the Longhorns, but the longer they strung it out, and then with the pitch and with his speed, he turned the corner.
And what was it that Dwayne Aquina said about Mike Goodson? He said he reminded me of our number 25. And you can see when Goodson gets into space and starts getting downhill, he's got that extra gear. Of course, had the only touchdown last year against Texas in that 12-7 upset.
And he was upset he didn't score on that one. He was close.
He saw some grass, didn't he?
Jaworski Lane, and they hand it off to him. Big opening, and he powers his way to the 31. And let's go down again to Jack Arute.
Hey guys, you remember the last time they started to get into the red zone, they tried, Stephen McGee tried to throw to Marcellus Bennett, and he failed to make the catch. Well, during that last exchange, the first person to go coach up Marcellus Bennett was the head coach, Dennis Franchione. He talked to Marcellus about needing to get his head around. Wouldn't surprise me if they start to drive another 10 or 15 yards. They may go to him again. We'll have to watch.
Yep. And what's happening with this, Jack? We're about to go under 3 minutes left in the third quarter because the Aggies are doing such a good job of burning the clock up and keeping the Texas offense off the field. We'll see if this turnover for the Longhorns brings points. McGee, a gain of 8 on the option. Scott Derry will make the tackle.
It's amazing with Texas A&M, and this is exactly what Texas suspected they would try to do, shrink the game.
64-36, the number of offensive plays.
But I don't think that Texas suspected how Texas A&M would shrink the game by starting to incorporate more passing plays, more screens. This just looks like a totally different offense than what the Longhorns were preparing for.
The corner, and Goodson turns it up at the 10. It'll be first and goal at the 5-yard line. Texas A&M. That's a gain of 18 yards by Mike Goodson.
Well, the Texas defense is starting to wear out because they are in position to make this tackle, and Goodson's speed just absolutely outruns Arakpo. Remember earlier in the game we saw Arakpo out there turning those back in. Boy, this many plays on the field, this much time of possession, and the white shirts are starting to get tired, and the maroon shirts are starting to knock some people on their backsides.
First and goal. The ball actually just outside the 5-yard line. Lane hit low and then knocked down hard as that's going to be McElroy, who took his feet out from under him, and then Kendall came in to help out. So a loss of the play. It'll be second down and goal, and they'll mark it at around the 7-yard line.
Here comes the speedy people back into the game. Jaworski Lane, Joey Thomas come off, Michael Corey and Mike Goodson come back in. So see if they don't spread the ball here. And Bennett again, let's keep an eye on him at tight end.
So they got 2 tight ends in the ball game. Snyder, who was a defensive player wearing number 17, he lines up the block on the left side, and they try to run it inside at the 2, at the 1. Touchdown, Texas A&M.
Well, they put Schneider over there to try to get the edge, and McGee's going to run the speed option, but he sees a soft part right in the middle of the field. And now McGee has looked more and more like a passing quarterback in this game, but let's not forget how tough this young man is.
There's McGee right there. And you see Elder grabbing his quarterback and helping shove him into the end zone. Extra point attempt is up, and it's good. So with 49 seconds left to play, third quarter, the Aggies score, and the new score is Texas A&M 24, Longhorns 10. So Vince Young goes into that group. What's your reaction to him?
I thought he could have been a little higher. I don't.
So you know what? A lot of times, people look and they say, if somebody who is just so soon, gotten out of college, but I agree with you.
Boy, he's going
to go down as one of the greatest because of the impact that he has had. You're exactly right. Kickoff by Cosby from the 9-yard line. And Cosby's got running room, and he cuts it back to the middle, and hang on. Quan Cosby could be gone. 91 yards for an answering kickoff return touchdown. And for anybody saying, is that close to a record? Not even close. Johnny Lamb Jones against SMU in 1978 had a 100-yard kick return.
Well, and talk about a momentum changer. It really felt in this building like everything was on Aggie side after the turnover. Probably could have been called for an illegal blow to the head, but it wasn't. There was the fumble. A&M goes right down the field and scores, and all of a sudden, Quan Cosby with a great block by Vondrell McGee, the backup freshman running back, way downfield, did an excellent job opening the final lane for Cosby.
See Coach Tolleson, the special teams coach, congratulating Cosby on the return. And so now 24-17 with 36 seconds left in the third quarter. Show us exactly what happened here.
Well, there's good blocking to begin with. And he makes somebody miss, but as he starts to run, look at Vondrell McGee. He just does an excellent job working one-on-one against Kerry Franks, who's covering for A&M, and that's just finishing it. Let's not forget that Larry McDuff, who's the co-defensive coordinator, just came in after spending 8 years in the NFL as a special teams coach. So Larry bringing a lot of that expertise into Texas, and all of a sudden the game flops.
Yeah, he and Coach Tolleson both very excited on the sidelines. You get a closer look at Quan Cosby. 91 yards on that jaunt. And for one of the very few times today, it is very quiet here at Kyle Field. With our new score, 24-17, and an entire quarter left to play. And the way the wind is blowing, it doesn't really aid anybody, I don't think, because it's like it's coming directly out of the east. There's nothing in front of anybody, and there's nothing behind them.
Let's see how they respond, because we saw the response after McGee threw the interception, but now a little different, where you allow a kickoff return for a touchdown. I get the sense that the Aggies have come in here so focused and so ready. I think they'll respond well. Now, how's Texas going to respond defensively after having been on the field just moments ago?
Yeah, well, that's a great point. What has spurned Texas, though, is a defensive interception that turned into a touchdown, and now a special teams play. Big block, a lot of running room. Are we going to go the other way? Tackle is missed. No, just enough. Shankle is tripped up as just enough touch on him by Hunter Lawrence, who kicked it off. Well, John, let's go back to New York. I understand you got an update on LSU Arkansas.
Well, Ron, LSU thought they had scored a touchdown to tie the game, but Arkansas had called timeout, so this is their second chance. 4th and goal. Matt Flynn finds Demetrius Byrd. The conversion is good. The game is tied at 28. Arkansas with the ball about midfield with about 47 seconds to go.
Wow. A&M very quickly, not only on the field, but at the line of scrimmage. And they have 3 wide receivers to the left side. And that's Goodson, the running back, who goes in motion. It splits out, and they throw it to Goodson, trying to get isolation with him. And McElroy is a devastatingly tough tackler. And when he hits you, you not only go down, but he has a lot of what is not a real big body into it.
You look at that group of linebackers, that kind of second group of linebackers that plays just as much as the first group as we go to the 4th quarter. And that is a very athletic group of guys.
24-17 at the end of 3. Our presentation of college football presented by Best Buy will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. You're watching ESPN on ABC.